rectify, and erect. Today's word, rectus. This little word has given rise to so many terms in both everyday English and medical jargon. In Latin, rectus means straight or right. You might hear its influence in English words like right, or in terms ending in rect, like rectify. To rectify something means to make it right or correct. And if we add angle to rect, we get rectangle, a shape with right angles. So even geometry owes something to this root word. The six-pack muscles of the abdomen are called the rectus abdominis in medical terminology. The name comes from the straight shape of the muscles, incorporating the root rect, meaning straight. Pretty straightforward, pun intended, right? Now, let's shake things up a bit. What happens when you put prefixes in front of rect? Let's start with C, playing with prefixes. C core means together, as in coordinate. Add it to rect, and you get correct. When you make something straight together, you're correcting it. Easy enough, right? D, die means two, like in diagnosis. Add that to rect, and you get direct. Splitting things into two and straightening them out gives us the idea of guiding or managing something directly. E is often interpreted as out of. When added to rect, it forms erect. This means to stand upright, which is also where we get medical terms like erection. And that brings us to our next point, erectile dysfunction and impotence. Medical term erectile dysfunction, or ED for short, refers to the inability to achieve or maintain an erection. ED is often used interchangeably with impotence, but let's break impotence down. The prefix im means not, and potence comes from the same root as potential, meaning power, so impotence literally means lack of power. While both terms are related, impotence is a broader concept that can include other issues like low libido or difficulty with normal sexual activity beyond just erection problems. Erect is also used to describe the muscles that straighten the lower back from behind the spine, known as the erector spinae muscles. The term erector is derived from the Latin word erector, which literally means to stand upright or to straighten. Rectum, straightening things out. Alright, let's pivot to anatomy. The word rectum also comes from rectus. Why? Because it's the straight section of the intestine, the final stretch before waste exits the body. The name fits, right? After all those twists and turns in the intestines, the rectum is where things straighten out. When we have a bowel movement, defecate in a fancy way, we need to rectify the rectum. However, sitting on a traditional toilet tends to bend the rectum. If you experience difficulty with bowel movements, placing a small stool under your feet can help rectify the rectum, making the process easier. And that reminds me of a classic dad joke. Horrible. A car hit my dog in the ass, said the kid. The teacher corrected him. Johnny, we say rectum. Little Johnny replied. Rectum. Damn near killed him. Anus versus rectum, what's the difference? Speaking of rectum, let's clarify something. While rectum refers to the straight portion of the intestine, the anus is the opening at the very end of the digestive tract. These are related but distinct structures. For example, an anoscope is a tool used to examine the anus. A rectoscope is used to examine the rectum. See the difference? They're close, but not quite the same. Oh, and here's a bonus fact. The prefix procto comes from Greek and also refers to the anus, so a proctoscope is basically in between an anoscope and rectoscope. Ano, procto, recto, all these structures align straight. Let's straighten up. Before we wrap things up, let's quickly review the key terms we've covered today, all related to straightness, or rectus. Rectify, to make something right. Rectangle, a shape with right angles. Direct, to guide or manage. Correct, to straighten something with others. Erect, to stand upright. Erectile dysfunction, the inability to achieve or maintain an erection. Impotence, a broader term for lack of sexual power or ability. Rectum, the straight section of the intestine. Rectal bleeding, bleeding from the rectum. Rectoscope, a tool for examining the rectum. Anus, the opening at the end of the digestive system. anoscope, a tool for examining the anus. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of rectus and how its meanings apply to both language and medicine.